Okay, in the last class, we discussed the function of a turbine. A turbine is a work producing device. What are the examples for work consuming devices? A turbine is meant for developing power, and thus a turbine will give work output or will produce power. Similarly, what are the power consuming devices, power taking devices? Name some examples of power consuming devices. That means the devices which require power. All of you mute your mics. Okay, there are certain work consuming devices. There are compressors, pumps, etc., blowers, etc. So here, see a centrifugal compressor is shown. Here, the compressor is drawn such that, see, at inlet, the diameter is larger, and at the outlet, the diameter is smaller. And see, the compressor rotor, the rotor of the compressor will be in rotation, by giving some electric power from an electric motor. Thus, the compressor or the rotor of a compressor rotates by giving work input to it or power input to it, or simply a compressor runs by taking some power from external device. And what happens? What is the purpose of then the compressor? The purpose of the compressor is to give here, for this example, give pressurized air. All of you mute your mics. All of you join quickly. A compressor, it requires power, and here the purpose of the compressor is by taking power from an electric motor. The compressor compresses air. See, the air is taken from suction from larger diameter side, and the compressed air is given to some process. See, where is the compressed air used? We discussed the usage of compressed air for inflating the tires of automobile or cars, pressurizing the tires of cars, for example, tires of car, tires of automobile. We use compressed air. There, they store compressed air in a some vessel called receiver, and of course you will see all those details in the next semester, we will just apply here the steady flow energy equation. Now tell me, is there any work interaction with the compressor? For that, to answer, you have to take the compressor as a system. This is a dotted line shown, and see here through the dotted line, if any energy is entering, you have to identify it, and through the dotted line, if any mass enters, you have to identify it. Some mass is entering, so this is an open system. Some energy is crossing, some work is crossing. So this is requiring work, so a work consuming device, and that's what we are discussing. A compressor consumes work. So if a device consumes work, what is its sign convention? What is its sign? Negative or positive? In steady flow energy equation, we have to, for example, if this compressor is consuming, say, 1 kilowatt of power, for example, or 1000 kilojoule per second. That much power, if it is consuming, that 1000 is to be substituted in the steady flow energy equation as negative. See here, the steady flow energy equation, however, is written by taking delta Z is equal to 0, but this is not all the times we apply this delta Z is equal to 0. For example, in a certain problem, you may not be given to ignore potential energies. In that particular problem, you should consider Z1, Z2 also. However, because this is a horizontal, by taking a horizontal line through the inlet and outlet cross section at their axis, we will have the inlet and outlet on the same horizontal line. So in that way, Z1 equal to Z2, and the remaining terms we substituted. What are substituted? H1, which comprises internal energy and flow energy together. So U1 plus P1 V1 is H1, and C1 square by 2 kinetic energy plus GZ1, of course not considered because delta Z is equated to 0, plus Q. You write all the times plus Q is equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 is of course 0 plus double. Here it is shown that the compressor is rejecting some heat. Some rejection of heat may be there while the compression is going on. Therefore, rejection of heat is of course shown to be negative here, and W is shown to be negative. It means the sign convention for heat and work are substituted here, but you need not actually write in the equation itself. You write plus Q plus W, and after substituting the relevant terms in the parameters in the equation, you will get the required unknown parameter. And similarly, a reciprocating compressor, that is a rotary compressor or centrifugal compressor, where the rotation of the rotor is taking place, whereas in a reciprocating compressor there will not be rotation, there will be reciprocation of the piston inside a cylinder. Still, the process of compression will be carried out. So this is another type of compressor where there is no rotation of the rotor. Here a reciprocating compressor. So this cylinder, piston, and this is inlet valve, and this is discharge valve, and from the suction air enters like this, and for the piston to reciprocate there is power input, there will be uh, power requirement, and once this compressor is connected to external power, so that is W is shown to be entering into the compressor, meaning that compressor is taking some power, and by taking that power the piston reciprocates, that means it compresses, that is the suckling air will be compressed and it will be discharged through this outlet valve or delivery valve to a receiver or storage tank. Here the receiver will have compressed air, and from this receiver for our say I said for our purpose, say for inflation of tires of a car or automobile vehicle, we use from this, and that is what a receiver uh, which stores compressed air here. So the purpose of here, the function of the compressor is similar to a centrifugal compressor shown in the earlier topic. There in the centrifugal compressor there is rotation of the shaft, rotation of the rotor. See here all the things are not shown to you, and I told you that the in-depth details, in-depth study will be taken care, will be uh, considered in the coming semesters, not at this point. At this point, we will just attempt the outline of these devices and apply on steady flow energy equation. So this is now the equation is similar. See, whatever equation we applied to a centrifugal compressor, all these equations are applicable to this reciprocating compressor also. That is, see here, the compressor may reject some heat or may not reject heat. It is all dependent on the problem given. And of course, W is a fixed one. That is, there will be a definite input of power to the compressor, like that. In that way, the compressor requires power. But here, what I am telling you, this equation, in this equation, you use plus sign here, plus Q plus double, H1 plus C1 square by 2, plus Q, equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2, plus double. And if some Q is given to be rejected by the compressor, because heat rejection is negative, you use a negative value here in joule per kg, because this is written in unit mass, per unit mass basis, and W, whatever it is, whether it is to be found out or something is to be found out, it is a negative value, because a work consuming device for work consuming device, work input is taken to be negative as per thermodynamic convention, sign convention. So these equations are equally applicable to a reciprocating compressor. Here the difference in centrifugal compressor and reciprocating compressor is, a centrifugal compressor will have a rotor which rotates. Here a reciprocating compressor will have a cylinder and piston, and reciprocation takes place. Reciprocation of the piston inside the cylinder takes place, and a reciprocating compressor will supply small quantities of air, and whereas a rotary compressor or centrifugal compressor will supply more quantities of air, compressed air, and that is how we can differentiate between a reciprocating compressor and centrifugal compressor. Here, there are reciprocating parts, whereas in the centrifugal compressor, there are rotating parts. So in that way, physical arrangement of the components and the functioning of the two can be uh, differentiated whenever asked. And you take one problem here. In an air compressor, air flows steadily at the rate of hello. What is a compressor? A work consuming device or work producing device? I am putting a question. Number 70. Number 50. A compressor is a work consuming device or a work producing device. Number 24. See, if you don't respond, you will not be given attendance. So number 70 is absent, and number 24.
75 answer.
70? 70 is there? Not there.
Sir,
But why don't you
yes, sir,
respond?
there, sir.
I am asking you a question. A compressor is a work consuming device or work producing device? Number 52.
Work consuming device.
It is a work consuming device. Now here a problem is given. See, all these problems may look, of course, lengthy to read. But whenever a steady flow energy equation is considered, see this equation, for example, this equation, here U1 plus P1 U1, C1 square by 2 plus Q. I asked you every time, you write in the equation plus Q plus W. And here, the right side, U2 plus C2 square by 2 plus P2V plus W. Here, what can you write instead of U1 plus P1 U1? what is U1 plus P1 V1 combinedly called? U1 plus P1 V1 equal to, see, we are writing the steady flow energy equation in terms of H1 sometimes, in terms of U1 plus P1 U1 sometimes, and that all depends on the problem given here. Why this is written in terms of U1 and plus P1 U1? Because in the problem there may be internal energy is given. See, what all given in the problem, it is written in the solution. Air flow rate through the compressor, m dot equal to 0.5 kg per second, that is given. And it enters the compressor at 6 meters per second. So inlet velocity of air at inlet to the compressor C1, 6 meters per second, with a pressure of 1 bar. So pressure of air at the inlet to the compressor P1, 1 bar. Because all these given, pressure, specific volume are all given. So therefore, in terms of U1 plus P1 U1, it is given. It is written, and specific volume of 0.85. See, specific volume of air 0.85. Pressure at the outlet of the compressor. See, pressure after specific volume, it leaves at 5 meters per second, that is C2, with a pressure of 7 bar. So it is leaving at P2 equals 7 bar. And specific volume is also given, V2. V2 is given. So all the parameters are given. P1 given, V1 given, P2 given, V2 given. And also the internal energy of the air leaving is 90 kilojoule per kg, greater than that of the air entering. That means what? The internal energy U2 is greater than U1, and it is greater by an amount 90 kilojoule per kg. That means U2 minus U1 value given direct. U2 minus U1 equal to 90 kilojoule per kg. And cooling water in a jacket surrounding the cylinder absorbs heat from the air at the rate of. That means the compressor is rejecting 60 kilojoule per second, and that is absorbed by cooling water. So heat rejection is 50 kilojoule per second or 50 kilowatt. Calculate the power required to drive the compressor. W is asked. The inlet and outlet pipe cross-section areas. Again, here the second part of the problem is it requires some indirect equations, not like first part. The first part does not require indirect equation. Here, this is direct equation we use. And I said U2 minus U1 equal to 90. Instead of that, he has written U2 minus 90. Either you can write U2 minus U1 plus 90 or U1 minus U2 minus 90, because it is given there in the problem. So the internal energy of the air leaving is 90 kilojoule per kg, greater than that of the air entering. That means U2 is greater than U1, and that means U1 is smaller. So smaller minus bigger is 90 minus 90. So that's how here you are asked about W direct, and everything is given. Q given as 60 kilojoule per second, and because these are to be substituted in kilojoule per kg, joule per kg, this is divided by mass flow rate 0.5. 0.5 is mass flow rate of air passing through the compressor, and by dividing by heat rejected 60, by 0.5, it is minus 120 kilojoule per kg. So all these are substituted in this equation. See, here W is written directly. W equal to U1 minus U2 plus C1 square minus C2 square by 2. And whenever you use here kilojoule per kg, this has to be divided by, the kinetic energy change has to be divided by 1000. And P1 is to be substituted in Newton per meter square first and then divided by 1000, like that. So here, see first, you see the equation C1 square by 2 minus C2 square by 2 plus P1 V1 minus P2 plus, so W is written like this, and U1 minus U2 is written minus 90 because U2 is greater than U1 and U2 minus U1 is 90 given, and U1 minus U2 is minus 90. It is kilojoule per kg given, and C1 square minus C2 square, 6 square minus 5 square by 2, and this is divided by 1000 because all these terms U1, U2 and Q are given in R, so are substituted in kilojoule per kg. Therefore, these are the kinetic energy change is divided by 1000. So divided, and P1 V1 minus P2. P1 is given C 0.85 and P1 is given P1 is 1 bar and V1 is 0.85 meter cube per kg, and P2 is 7 bar, V2 is 0.16 meter cube per kg, and pressure P1 bar is converted into Newton. 1 bar equal to 10 power 5 Newton, and this is Newton is again divided by 1000 to make it kilonewton, and the combined P1 V1 now will have the unit of kilojoule per kg. We do like this. And heat rejected is given 60 kilojoule per second. See, heat rejected is 60 kilojoule per second given. So again, this is to be divided by mass flow rate 0.5. So 60 by 0.5 is 120. So Q is 120. Because this is heat rejection, it is minus 120. So therefore, Q equal to minus 120. It is substituted. Now W is found out 237 kilojoule per kg. And when this is multiplied by 0.5, you get in kilowatt. So in that way, power required to drive the compressor is found out. So in that way, a power producing device will, when substituted, all the terms are substituted, you will get a negative sign, meaning that the device is consuming power, it is taking power. And here it is kilojoule per kg when the steady flow energy equation for unit mass basis substituted with. And because this is in kilojoule per kg, and because you are asked to find out the power required to drive the compressor, the power unit has to come. Therefore, this work is to be multiplied by mass flow rate. Mass flow rate 0.5 kg per second. So kilojoule per kg multiplied by kg per second is kilojoule per second or kilowatt. So in that way, the power consumption is worked out to be 118.5 kilowatt. However, you do the problem on your own with calculators. And there are some problems where you may require to consider potential energy also. This is such type of problem. Here, this problem statement you look at. See, all these problems you may be given for assignments, and you are required to send the written assignments if by the time the college is not open. You have to physically send it. Assignments written on A4 sheets with your handwriting in a more legible manner have to be sent to our addresses either by courier or some speed post. Whatever it is, they are to be sent by you physically. There should be physical proof of assignments. So shortly, we will send you assignment questions. We will give you assignment questions. In the class itself, I may give. In those assignments, this type of problems may come. Therefore, you are suggested to go through the problems in the first hand by going through the classes, and on the second hand, you can go through the textbooks. The textbooks, the PDFs are available. You can refer PDFs, and in those textbooks, these are available. And this is a problem, example problem where Z is considered, that is potential energy is considered. That's why I told you that ignoring potential energy is not the generalized way of dealing with the steady flow energy. Sometimes it may be considered. You see here, in one of the sections of the heating plant, in which there are no pumps, you see, it enters at a steady flow of water at a temperature of 50 degrees centigrade and a pressure of 3 bar. The water leaves the section at a temperature of 35 degrees centigrade and at a pressure of 2.5 bar. However, enthalpy values H1, H2 are given. The exit pipe is 20 meters above the entry pipe. Here, see this sentence. The exit pipe is 20 meters above the entry pipe. This means that the datum level of the exit pipe, that is Z2, is at a higher position than Z1 by an amount 20 meters. Or you can say that Z2 minus Z1 equal to 20 meters. You look at this sentence. The exit pipe is 20 meters above the entry pipe. See, these are all the problems which you need not physically look at. Just see, when a steady flow of something is given there, a steady flow energy equation has to be substituted. That's all. And what happens physically in the problem, all those things are not required at this level. However, there is no pump here. That means work interaction 0. That means there may be, see, the fluid enters maybe without an input of some energy. So there is no pump. And assuming changes in kinetic energy, change in kinetic energy, negligible. Evaluate the heat transfer from the water per kg of water flow. Here, this is another type of problem, not a compressor problem. But there is a flow problem. Flow problem where through a duct, some flow is taking place through a pipe, such that the exit pipe is 20 meter above the entry pipe. So that means the pipe may be in a slant position like this. So the exit pipe is 20 meter above the entry pipe. Here what I said is Z2 minus Z1 is 20 meter. And applying in the steady flow energy equation, H1 given here, H1 240 kilojoule per kg, H2 192 kilojoule per kg, and therefore H1 H2 given, and C1 square minus C2 square by 2, C1 square by 2 minus C2 square by 2 is asked to be neglected here. Also, this is not also a generalized condition. This is a particular thing or here applicable, not for not all the problems. In some problems, say for the earlier problem, we considered C1 and C2 also in the earlier problem, and this is a generalized problem where fluid flow through a pipe is taking place. For such a problem also, here this equation is applicable. Here there is no work involved because here in one of sections of the heating plant, there are no pumps, comma. Now a fluid enters steady flow of water at a temperature of so and so, pressure of so and so. So instead of that, enthalpy given and pressure, leaving pressure given. Instead of that, enthalpy given. All those are given. And you are required to find out here the heat transfer, Q. Q is to be found. So when substituted, you will get Q value. See, this is how you can assume. Here, see, this is the inlet of the pipe, H, where water enters, and this is outlet of the pipe. And this Z1 minus Z2 or Z2 minus Z2 is 20 meters. So you are here, there are no pumps used and for moving this water. Therefore, there is no work interaction. There is no pump, so requiring no work. C2 square minus C1 square by 2 is 0. And Q is substituted in the equation. And H1, because H1 and H2 are in kilojoule per kg. Therefore, here this 20 G in GZ1 when multiplied, this 20 is multiplied by G, it will be in joule per kg only. So this is to be divided by 1000 to make this in this parameter in kilojoule per kg. So now all the parameters will be in kilojoule per kg and Q is calculated. In this way, heat transfer from water is calculated to be like this. So you are suggested to, in the examinations, however, you are always given some problems related to a steady flow energy equation. That's why for every device or for every device discussed and for a generalized device, for a generalized problem, this is a generalized problem. This is not a compressor, not a turbine, not a pump. It is a generalized duct, generalized flow arrangement. A flow arrangement is like this, where water is entering in somewhere here. If you draw the figure, you will have, you will understand the problem in a more depth, in a more depth. So whenever a problem is given, you try to draw a figure of your choice, figure of figure uh, as per your understanding. So here the figure is given that see water is entering in like enter at a lower position and it is leaving at a higher position, and the difference is 20 meters. That is given in the problem. See the exit pipe is 20 meters above the entry pipe. See this figure is given in the problem itself. Actually, in the problem itself, this figure is given. So if this is the situation, then the solution will become easier. And if suppose a problem is not having any figure, then you have to draw the figure as per your understanding and incorporate or substitute the numericals given in the problem, and in that way a steady flow energy equation, a steady flow device can be understood. So this is a generalized problem. This is a generalized problem where flow takes place in two pipelines like this: at inlet at a lower position, outlet at a higher position. So all these equations are the consequence of the steady flow energy equation. This equation, all this equation, H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ plus 2. See, I asked you to write small q and small w. Now I wrote here because when enthalpies are given in kilojoule per kg or joule per kg, these are Q and W are to be written with small letters, meaning that these are per unit mass basis. Okay, this is how, and then we apply steady flow energy equation for a boiler, some heat exchangers. Some heat exchangers we will apply. A heat exchanger, first I will define a heat exchanger. It is a device where the exchange of heat takes place between two fluids, say from hot fluid to cold fluid, or from say they exchange heat usually from hot fluid to cold fluid. So what is a purpose of a boiler actually? See, don't bluntly go through the devices and what is mentioned there. You don't go bluntly. Just recall at first hand whatever learned by you in the previous classes. What is the purpose of a boiler?
Heat water, sir.
Repeat. Correct. Repeat once again. A boiler is
For heating of water, sir.
for heating of water. For heating of water. That's all. That means a boiler does not require water. For example, in this equation, H1 plus U, I am asking you every time, use plus sign here. See, what is required for a boiler? As you said, it requires heat. That means a boiler, for boiler, or some heat is required. That means input to the boiler is heat. Then what will happen? Utilizing that heat, the boiler heats water, utilizing that heat. So a boiler requires heat. So what is the sign convention then for heat here? positive or negative? If heat is transferred to a device, or if some heat is added to a device, or um, see, I said, see, for that we have to take the earlier reference. See, in the earlier cases, what we studied, when rejection of heat is taking place, it is negative. See, here in a boiler, absorption of heat takes place. Absorption of heat. That means the vessel containing water will absorb some heat externally, and therefore, because heat is being absorbed, heat is taken to be positive. So in the equation, H1 plus Q you have to use, and a boiler does not require any work, nor will it produce any power. That means a boiler will have no interaction with work. Work term is zero for the boiler. So therefore, H1 plus Q equal to H2 plus 0. So therefore, Q equal to H2 minus H1. In that way, using the difference in enthalpies at final stage and at initial stage, difference in enthalpies of water at initial and final stages will give the heat that is absorbed by the boiler. Here, that is how, see, a boiler is shown here. As you said, water contained in a vessel. So underneath there is this is an industrial boiler example, but however you can the boiler as per your understanding. See, you need not draw the figures as I am showing here. There is a flexibility of drawing figures, and there is every possibility to draw figures of your own understanding. Not These are not the unique figures with which a boiler is represented. So I want to say a boiler heats water. So that is what happening here. So underneath some heat is given. Say some coal is burned on. See, in the industrial boilers, coal is used, and this coal is fired, and the heat coming from the coal steam. However, ultimately steam that comes out, and that is utilized for our purpose. And the input is water. Water enters in, steam leaves. So in this way, a boiler is a heating device. Heating device. Here you can take delta Z0, that is change in potential energy 0, change in kinetic energy 0. All for substituting all those, you write simply H1 plus Q equal to H2. That's all. And delta Z equal to 0, and delta C2 square by 2 is equal to 0. And since W equal to 0, because it neither take any work nor produce any work, neither work is developed nor work is absorbed. It does not require any work. There is no work interaction with the boiler. So in that way, there are certain devices, and these devices which does not deal with work. Only the devices which deal with heat are called heat exchangers in general. So one example of heat exchanger is a boiler. What I said here, heat is exchanged from external, from coal to water. That is how this is called. This is one of heat exchangers. So how heat is exchanged here? From the coal to the water. From the coal to the water. So therefore, from one substance to other substance. The substance is coal here, and other substance is water. Coal is fire, and water will be heat. So this is one example of a heat exchanger. And some more examples we will see in other classes. A, an evaporator is another type of boiler, another type of heat exchanger. A condenser is another type of, one more type of heat exchanger. All these don't deal with work. So the devices which don't deal with work and which deal with heat are called heat exchangers. Remember, the devices which deal with heat only and which do not deal with work. These type of devices are called heat exchangers in general. And we are now dealing with the boiler, and we dealt with, and we have seen how. See why we are taking all these, because you may be given in the examination any problem of any general problem of either heat exchangers or work exchanging devices. Work exchanging devices are turbine and compressor on pumps, fans. They are all work exchanging devices. That means there is exchange of work in the case of a compressor, in the case of a turbine, in the case of a pump, like that. As such, a fan, a blower. So those devices, they deal with work, but we are now dealing with heat exchangers. Heat exchangers, they don't deal with work; they only deal with heat. In that way, we consider, we take up every, almost every type of devices, and these uh, specific cases where some devices W0, for example, in this boil, these specific conditions are substituted in steady flow energy equation. So here, for example, here the specific condition substituted here is W is substituted 0, and of course these are some mostly given in the problems. Mostly the potential energies, kinetic energies are, of course, why they are given zeros, or why they are almost shown negligible, because compared to enthalpies, however, these are negligibly small compared to enthalpies. That is enthalpy of water after heating minus enthalpy of water before heating. Compared to this H2 minus H1 value, these values are negligibly small. That's why we neglect those terms. That means it does not mean that there is no velocity at entry and at exit. That is what we mean by. Or sometimes there may be velocities, but the change in velocity, change in Ke may be zero. In that way, velocities may be there, but the change in kinetic energy is equated to zero. In that way, the equations are to be, or substitutions are to be understood. Okay, we will stop at this point, and we will deal with other heat exchangers in the coming class.